there's going to be differences of opinion.
The Bears.
Well, you're looking at traits. And number one, he tested very, very well.
The Bears.
Greg, why are teams wrong on quarterback evaluation so often?
Number one, it's a hard position to evaluate.
Former Bears scouting director Greg Gabriel talks football live every week on the Barroom Network. Also available on demand.
Look, I think it's a good time to be a Chicago Bears fan. There's a lot to be excited about. But let me tell you something. We are past the point of excuses. If things go sour, you have used up all of the patience that Chicago has to offer.
The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's done by Barflies for Barflies and all the other Bears fans out there. What's going on, fellas? It's Packers Hate Week. I don't give a fuck what's happened in the past. It's time to put up or shut up. Shout out to all the recruits. Fuck the pack. What's going on, fellas?
What's good?
It feels like it's been a month and a half since we've been live. So much has happened this week. My man KB got to go witness it live, hang out with Big Cuz after that. I'm sure that was a lot better than the game actually was. Yeah. But welcome back, KB. How you doing, man? What's up?
Man, you know your boy, man. I got to go sit out at that suck fest that we called a game last week. You know how it was, man. Because wasn't in that game, of course, dealing with the pec injury and whatnot. So, yeah, man, you heard the boos. I know y'all heard the stories about the boos. You heard the boos. A lot of fire Eberfluses. Bro, it was even some chance being thrown at the quarterback for a little bit, man. Look, the situation was looking rough. They did a little housekeeping this week, but we'll see what is going on. But other than that, your boy doing good. Yes, Rabbi, I do. I'm working the back 24 right now with a 48-hour shift. So I worked yesterday. I'm on my shift today. This is actually my actual shift. I'm at my actual station. We're doing it. Always working.
Yeah, KB always putting in that work. Have you did you take your Xbox in today? You gonna get some Call of Duty time in today if you got time, or
man, I might have to, man. Depending on how this game go.
Yeah.
You know, the game could come on sooner. Who knows, bro? We'll see.
That's true. My man Tooch, what's good, brother? How you doing this morning? How was your week?
Doing all right. Just got a lot of stuff to do around here. My mom's been sick, so just kind of dealing with personal stuff, but ready to break down some Bears Packers. Man, the game last week, though, what a disappointment. I thought, I was worried that, that was the last winnable game, or most winnable game on the schedule, and got the Packers coming in today. They're off a bye and a loss, so I mean, my optimism isn't high today.
Yeah, I feel like we're all in the same boat. For anyone wondering, Chris texted me this morning and said he's feeling under the weather. He's got a cold, so I was like, just rest up, get better. I've heard that they're getting rid of Dayquil here in the U.S., but I don't know if that's still a thing in the U.K. So take whatever is needed to kick that cold. It's really difficult, as Tooch can attest to, and I've done it before too, to come on here and talk when your throat's hurting and your nose you just feel like snot's coming and the whole time, and you just can't. It's really
killing you.
Yeah. So definitely shout out to Chris, and I hope he gets to feeling better. But yeah, I mean, last week's game, like, I had high hopes. I thought we'd pull it out, but they looked awful from start to finish. And I mean, I don't know. Let's just hit this thing and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Even though Chris is not here, if I can find it. Jeez.
Piss off, you grotty little wanker! Wanker!
Shut up, you soppy wanker!
Wanker! You're a wanker! Wanker!
Stop being a wanker.
You are a wanker, Andy Marr. And I'll be honest, I didn't know that was coming, but I'll say it again, you are a wanker.
This is Chris Watts's Wanker of the Week.
The South Park, it always gets me, bro.
Yeah, the last part always gets me. And even though Chris isn't here, we always pay homage to him and talk about who our Wanker of the Week was, who fucked things up, and where the blame lands. Now, if we have a good week, we have a Javon Dexter thumbs up player of the week, but the Bears haven't given us for about a month now, so we'll just go with our Wanker of the Week. And my Wanker of the Week, as much as I want to put this all on Flus because I think it's a issue at his feet, I'm going all the way to the top this week, fellas. I think this falls squarely on the shoulders and at the feet of George McCaskey. He has a history of, and I got a stat right here. The Bears have not won a single playoff game since George McCaskey took over as chairman in 2011. Keep up the great work, George. It feels like, and I know he came out at one point and said, I'm just a fan. I'm not a talent evaluator. And he talks about not having his hands in it and everything. But when they talked to the offensive coordinator this week, he said verbatim, I had a meeting with George and Kevin and Matt and Ryan Poles. So George obviously has his hands in this. He continues to make idiot mistakes, hiring the wrong guy. This for me, I've only been around since 2009. So Tooch, I know you've dealt with this much longer than I have, but they this goes back to when they hired Trestman. To me, you had Bruce Arians in the building, you hired Trestman. And then when they brought in Matt Nagy, I thought things would work out. When they brought in John Fox, I thought things would work out. I was happy to have an adult in the building. Neither of those worked. So, okay, whatever. They continue to move on, and now they bring in Eberflus over Dan Campbell, who is doing wonderful things in Washington. They brought in Cliff Kingsbury, who declined to comment on his interview with what happened with the Chicago Bears. Now he's doing things in Washington. Now they're getting worse as people get tape on them, but still, we didn't see anything from Shane Waldron. In week 3, DJ Moore goes on the radio and tells you, yeah, we've practiced that a couple of times, but I didn't expect to use that play call in that particular set. But this goes all the way to the top. I mean, the everyone has always said the McCaskies are cheap. The McCaskies, what is it? They throw dimes like sewer caps or something.
Yeah.
And they've given out money to players, so a lot of people, they can't use that as players anymore. But you can absolutely use it for your front office, your head coach, and your coaching staff. When you have guys who, yes, they're more experienced, so they're going to cost more. You didn't even talk to Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is doing great things in LA with the Chargers. You didn't even talk to the guy.
Yeah.
And you know what he does. He comes in, he changes cultures. You didn't want the shakeup. So you just go with yes men. And this is what happens when you go with yes men. You end up in the same rotation. I love the way Danny Parkins broke it down. How and I think we talked about it last week, how they had John Fox with Trubisky, and then they fire John Fox and they go with Matt Nagy, and then they draft Justin Fields and he gets 1 year with Matt Nagy, then they go to Matt Eberflus, and now you're doing it all over again 3 times in a row. How many times do you have to make the same mistake before you realize you just got to fire everybody? Just do this right here. Fire everybody. Fuck them all. Send them all to the – and on top of all this, fellas, we play our bitter rivals today. So if it wasn't enough to try and get back on track, you're going against your rival, the oldest rival in football, the Green Bay Packers. It comes down to the McCaskies. They got to fix it. They got to reset everything, I think. At this point, I'm even thinking Poles might need to go. I mean, he's the one who put this talent together without going offensive line, without all this stuff. I don't know. Tooch, I know I just covered a lot there, but do you have
that was a great speech.
Thank you.
It was a great speech. I mean, it's hard to argue with that because I mean, everything you said, that was in my notes, man. So I'm like, 40 years since George Halas died, the Bears have managed only 2 Super Bowl appearances and only 16 winning seasons in 40 years. Most of those winning seasons were in the 80s, and the Bears have only 1 winning season and 0 playoff wins in the last 11 years, which coincide with George McCaskey's tenure. During this whole time, they've developed the reputation of dysfunction. Being a team that always make the wrong hires, the wrong decisions. I think we talked about this on Bare Their Souls, but after they hired Mike Ditka and the success of Mike Ditka became larger than the Bears ownership.
And they
didn't like that. This is just a theory, but they're not looking for a coach that's bigger than them.
I got Ditka right back there.
Brad Biggs wouldn't. Said Harbaugh wouldn't work with Warren. Yeah, I mean that's.
I'm starting to have an issue with Warren. You brought this guy in owning, and I talked about it last week. I'm sorry to cut you off, Tooch. You own the property in Arlington Heights, and then you hire the guy who wants to keep the Bears in Chicago. What the fuck? Did you not interview the guy? Did you just say, "Come on in"? Or did you?
My immediate suspicion would be that Warren has some kind of under the table deal with the mayor of Chicago. I know that's a conspiracy thery, but
they call it the Windy City, not because of the wind, but
it's
because
all
of politics.
the politics. I'm sure that the city of Chicago could grease Warren's palm a little bit. They want the team to stay in Chicago so they keep making revenue off of concessions, which I can't understand why the Bears would want to be under the thumb of the Park District any longer, because they're not, the Park District makes all the money on concessions.
Exactly.
And if you go to Arlington Heights, you can have your own concessions. You can have your own developed area with the shopping,
off-season
restaurants, shopping,
restaurants, bars, all that stuff.
Bars,
absolutely,
casino, all that stuff, hotels. Develop all that.
Last week, Kentucky sports radio host here in town, he also works for ESPN. He was in Chicago last week for the game as well, doing a pregame show and all those things. He's been a Bears fan for years and years, and this was his first Bears game at Soldier Field, so he was fired up. But he came back Monday, and he was talking about Soldier Field, and he was like, I guess the stadium's fine. But he said, I went to go get a Diet Coke, and they asked me if I wanted Diet RC. And I was like, yep, they're the only place on the planet where you can get freaking RC. It's because cheapness, I guess. I know it's
Chicago company, Royal Crown.
Well, I know it's way down on the list of things to complain about. Robbie says RC's the best. I highly disagree, as you can clearly see.
Look, if let me just sell this to you for a minute here. Mm-hmm. Imagine if you're an NFL owner like the McCaskey family, you have a $1 billion franchise. The Bears, $6 billion. And with this, this is only going to add value to the franchise. If you had the Arlington Heights complex, you're a fan and you want to go for the entire Chicago Bears football experience. You go, there's a brand new stadium with a retractable roof. There's a Chicago Bears history museum attached to the stadium. You want to stay late and party after the game? Here's a bunch of bars and a casino. You want to stay, you don't want to travel? There's a hotel right next to the stadium. You want to do some shopping? Here's some shopping, whether it's like gear, an NFL gear or whatever. You want to, any kind of shopping whatsoever. And you just get off the airport, get off the flight at the airport, taxi over to the stadium and stay there for the whole weekend, partying your ass off and gambling. It's like tailor-made spot. And then, that increased probably the Bears would end up being $7 billion franchise after all of this.
I'd say more than that. I mean,
maybe more than that, $8, $9, $10 billion franchise. You own
your own stadium and you got Wrigleyville North, like I talked about last week. Where's the downfall? I kind of like what MMA.
Final Four. You get a Super Bowl and a Final Four there.
Yeah, concerts, all kinds, and you're making the money instead of the
concert. Right, the people coming through there, and they're gonna pay to go into your museum, whether they're there to watch a Final Four or they're there to watch a Super Bowl. It's all Bears. Self-promotion out the ass.
Yeah, I do like what MMA Tip here says. Is it Vrabel or Belichick? We need guys with balls, and Bill's got years left. He's with a 25-year-old. I don't know if I like Bill as much as I do Vrabel because I feel like
he's going to be 79 years old. I mean, how long do you think?
Right.
I
know he wants to go for that Walsh record, and I think he's a couple of years away from that if he has good records. But I just feel like a lot of what Bill Belichick built kind of rubbed me the wrong way at the end there. I mean, he won a whole lot of games with the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
And then when Tom left, he had one good year with Mac Jones. And then after that, he continued to – I mean, if you bring in a Belichick, he's going to want control. And I don't like his draft decisions. I feel like he made a lot of bad draft decisions.
Yeah.
And that's continued.
That's a good segue into my thoughts about Ryan Poles.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm at. Look, I've been out on Flus for over a year, probably a year. Yeah, since the off season.
Yeah, we were talking about head coaching change last year.
Yeah, we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, look, he's won 29 games in 43. That's the worst record in Bears history for a coach. I know he presided over the tank year, and I think that's why Ryan Poles cuts Eberflus a lot of slack. He probably told him, "Look, we're going to give you a 5-year deal. We're going to tank. I'm not going to hold that against you, whatever." But last year and this year hasn't been much better, to be honest. So I mean, I don't trust Poles. And here's why. Like, he let Darnell Mooney go, who's been really good, man. He's like third or fourth in the NFL in fantasy points. I'm not. That's not a good gauge, but I'm just saying that's where he is. But he was 27 years old. He went to the Falcons for $13 million. That's it. And we traded a fourth round pick to rent Keenan Allen for a year. If you're not giving him a contract, you're not extending him.
Right.
You spent a 4th round pick for 1 year of Keenan Allen at 32 years old or however old he is. To me, that's just terrible draft pick management. And then we traded the number 33 pick or 32 pick overall for Chase Claypool, who I don't know if he had like 10 catches here. I mean, I know everybody loved the pick. I'm like, a 2nd round pick? Hell no. That's where we, you need to build a nucleus with those high draft picks. That 2nd round pick to me is, the 1st and 2nd round
necessities makes a point here. Roma Dunze kind of filled that Mooney role more than Keenan Allen did.
Why not have both of them though?
Yeah. I got a Mooney jersey in the closet, man. You won't hear an argument from me.
Yeah, we could have had. We could have had Mooney on the cheap. Tyler Scott ain't doing shit.
Yeah,
that's the guy that was supposed to be there.
Then you get that's. I know you got a long speech here, and I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry, but
no, we're just chatting.
I'm hoping for anyone who's been living under a rock, Shane Waldron got fired for OC this week.
Yeah, that's my wanker of the week.
They brought in Thomas Brown to call the plays. I just want to see them. Yeah,
I'm so glad this chucklehead is gone.
It's good.
in the
it just looks like a dumbass.
Yeah.
The first time I saw him on the sideline, his hands were shaking like the delirium tremens.
Sunday Night Football in Houston.
Yeah.
The game Big Cuz was looking for had circled on his calendar.
Yeah.
Going back home for him. And he even tried to he gave him the ball at the end of the game to win.
Right. Gave us every chance to win that game, bro.
That's Waldron's my wanker of the week.
Yeah, a good call for sure. I mean, if I hadn't gone all the way to the top, I was going with Waldron for sure. I kind of like and listening to Thomas Brown talk. How does he sound like more of a head coach than our head coach?
Yep.
I was listening to his press conference, getting fired the fuck up. Like when he was talking about we're going to stack plays, we're going to make people work. All the things he was saying all the right things. Now, hopefully, he does the right things, but. Not good enough to save Flus's job, but good enough to where he looks, like at the very least, I think he's going to run the ball because he played running back.
Yes, sir.
And he was a good running back too, man.
He played at Georgia, right?
Yeah, man, he was fast too. I watched some highlights. He never played again after that bad injury. He was tackled from behind and his groin muscle was torn off the bone.
Mm-hmm.
He was never able to suit up again, but he loves the game.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, he sounded great, and I never heard Waldron sound like that. I never heard Flus sound like that. I don't even think Flus wanted to fire anybody. I think he wanted to stay the course.
You're probably right, man.
Yeah, I even forgot where I was going with that. Or you want KB to hit his wanker of the week, or are you still going to?
Nope, I'm good.
Bro, it would have most definitely been Waldron, bro. That would have been a gimme. Because, sir, what are we doing, bro? What was the plan? Like I said, bro. For what week are we in? What week is this? Week 10?
11.
11.
Yep.
So this is week 11. So you were 10 weeks in, bro, and there's no identity. You came from an offense where you ran the ball, which I don't get why we didn't run the ball, but there was no setup, no rhyme or reason. You left out key players like Cole Kmet. You weren't scheming people.
It's kind of like what JSN told us in the offseason. Good luck with that.
Pretty much. So, man, and like I said, that's to me that's a miss on one of my parts because I thought that he was going to be a force multiplier. Just seeing stuff that he was doing over in Seattle, I'm like, all right, man, bring that over here. We'll have a more modern offense. We'll see this ball getting moved. As Caleb is very talented, but you just didn't see it. You didn't see any. It was like calling plays on Madden. I'm gonna pick this play this time. Right now, we'll go wide, and all of a sudden we'll be under center. Then we'll have 5 wide again. And
I can't remember who it was, but someone went on Rich Eisen this week and was talking about Shane Waldron, and he said basically, if they come out in this certain formation, they're running this play, and then if they come out in this other formation, they're running this play, and they come out in this other formation, they're running like he had one play per formation or something. Like if that guy can see it watching the tape, what do you think NFL defenses are making? Shout out to Ravi here. He's on fire today. Culture is great, huh? In a matter of weeks, the team implodes. Great culture. Let's look back at Eberflus's track record. He hires Luke Getsy, fires Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy's now been fired in Las Vegas. Dude. I almost said Oakland. He hires Alan Williams, who can't keep his pants on, so he gets fired. Then he hires Shane Waldron, who's gone by week 10. When you interviewed Cliff Kingsbury, you interviewed Kubiak, who was doing great, and you interviewed all these offensive minds that you were. I don't know if you're terrified they're going to take your job.
You left some guys out. That's it, though. I mean, Waldron was a threat, not a threat to Eberflus's job. That's why he was hired. Any guy, but Cliff Kingsbury, former head coach. Clint Kubiak, likely and Ben Johnson, likely guys to get. Head coaching jobs, but here's some other guys. You mentioned Luke Getsy and Alan Williams. Quarterback coach Andrew Janocko fired. Wide receivers coach Tyke Tolbert fired. Assistant tight ends coach Tim Zetz fired. Running backs coach David Walker fired after an HR incident like Alan Williams. What was going on there, Robbie, with that culture?
We still don't know what the hell was happening. Don Burr's loving it though. I mean, I told my wife last week.
I don't like polls. I haven't been a fan.
See, I've given him time, but at this point,
I don't think
I'm watching the offensive line imploding. You talked about the draft.
Who's the best player on our team? It's a guy he didn't even draft.
That's true.
Jalen Johnson, probably one of the best, if not the best quarterback.
It could be Jalen Johnson, who he didn't draft. Montez Sweat, who he didn't draft. DJ Moore, who he didn't draft.
Yep.
Jermaine Edmonds, who he didn't draft.
All of our best players.
And his first draft pick, Jaquan Brisker, goes on IR this week.
Yep. The roster isn't that good, man. It's not that good of a roster. His forte, he played offensive lineman, and his offensive line is terrible.
That's the start. And he loved Ryan Bates so much. You talk about giving away draft picks. We traded, what did we trade? A 4th or a 6th for Ryan Bates?
And 6th round pick. Yep.
But this week he's going to see the field the first time, I think, or maybe last week. But
there's a Larry Ogunjobi thing. I dinged him for Claypool and Keenan Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you guys a question. It's my feeling that the Hail Mary pass just broke this team, man. It really
sure
just
feels like it.
It really. I mean, they haven't been the same since. They've scored 6 points per game in the 2 games after an average of 6 points per game in their last 2 games. After following the Hail Mary debacle. And after that, I mean, no timeout was called. Players have come out. DJ Moore said, I want to say no when asked about if the team has lost respect for Matt Eberflus. And Kevin Byard came out and said a bunch of stuff about that. Cole Kmet has been outspoken. Caleb Williams was outspoken about Waldron and some of the other guys. And, they named Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator, and Caleb Williams said something like, I haven't really talked to him much. He's the passing game.
Isn't that crazy? The passing game coordinator hasn't talked to your quarterback.
It's just so dysfunctional.
It goes back to back to ownership, not wanting to hire a head coach who knows how to run an organization, who knows what Eberflus, he's been in the league a long time. Great defensive coordinator. He's never ran the show. He doesn't know the organization, how to have this guy with this. It's like you had all these guys talking to Waldron and then Waldron talking to the team, but obviously he had lost the team. I mean, when you saw you got the picture, you got the screenshot of him on the sideline, over it. I mean, it's DJ Moore's been out on him since the Colts game. Yeah. And he all but came out and said that on Mullion Hall. Yeah. Hopefully he's on track
for a while.
Brown, but
he was. I seen him out there just like jogging. If he's not involved in the play, he's not blocking or not jogging. I mean, he's not running full speed in his routes. It just kind of like turned me off a little bit on DJ Moore. I mean, I'm sure if he's into the game, Bears fans will love him again. But look, he's like you said, he's been out for several games. He's been out on the coaching staff, out on Eberflus, out on Waldron.
I'm with Buka on this one. The 15 yards before the Hail Mary pissed me off more than the Hail Mary did. Yep. And then your head coach comes out and said it didn't really matter. We were playing for the Hail Mary either way. Like the fuck, and he left the game with timeouts in his pocket while your corner is standing over here talking to the crowd, whether it was good or bad.
5 seconds with his back to the play. 5 seconds, no timeout before that. The Hail Mary, how are we going to defend this? Do we have the right guys in there? And then last week, nobody came, not a single offensive lineman came over to help him up.
A
Patriot came over to help him up.
And tapped him on the head like a little
This is one of the worst things I've ever seen as a Bears fan. It's 9 sacks. You know how many sacks the Patriots had in their 9 games previous?
14.
8 sacks. We gave them 9. They more than doubled their sack total on the year.
I don't think that's true. I think it was 14.
Nope. 100%. I looked this up, man. 8 sacks total on the season in 9 games. They apply pressure.
Don is just taking victory laps, y'all. I told my wife last week, I said, I am literally jealous of what Detroit has built. They built a culture. They drafted correctly. And you know what it all started with? Because they were a family business just like us. They brought in the right leadership to hire the correct people to fix it all.
And that's what Kevin Warren's supposed to be, but I just haven't seen it. I mean, maybe give him some time, but I mean, Warren was after Poles and Eberflus, so I guess we have to give Warren a shot to get his people in.
I think Warren kind of was like, all right, man, look, I'm gonna let you have your year to say what you want to do. We'll bring Caleb in. We'll do all of that jazz. And after that, we'll see where it goes from there. I think now the point is that maybe Kevin Warren was like, yeah, pull Poles into the into the office, said, hey, man, somebody got to be fired.
Yeah.
And if it ain't going to be that person, then it's going to be you.
Oh, yeah.
Then it probably trickle down from there. Poles probably like, look, man, somebody got to go.
Yep.
If Flus pulled that man aside, was like, all right, man, look, it's you.
It doesn't put much fear into the players, though, I mean, when you have someone like DJ Moore who has this massive contract, I mean, his job security is a lot higher than Matt Eberflus's, to be honest,
I mean, is it? Because apparently Eberflus had a 5-year contract. So
no, he did it, but they had invested $80 million, like in
that's true.
In DJ Moore.
Yeah,
that's true.
But 5-year contract, that's just like how the hell the McCaskies got talked into that, with Eberflus. Like, I never was a head coach before. But Eberflus had to come in and say, I'm not taking this job, if I don't get some job security, because we're going to tank.
Bye, motherfucker. Yeah. You had Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
You had Dan Quinn in your office.
Yep.
He's been a head coach.
Hell, he wanted the job. Shit.
Yeah. Yep. It goes back to we fired Lovie Smith at 10-6 and haven't had a good coach since. 10-6 record.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Because he didn't make the playoffs.
Whoopi Goldberg said it best. Harpo, until you do right by me. That is how I feel as a Bears fan, bro. Until we do right by Lovie Smith, brother, nothing will work.
Dan Quinn, somebody who's done it before.
I know Whoopi came out this week, said she's a hard-working woman that don't make a whole lot of money. Yeah, she makes $60 million a year. So
look, I take Whoopi salary. Shit,
can't relate.
I can make a damn.
All three of us can have a good life.
Can't relate. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We can split that shit 3 ways and still live good.
I don't know. And I mean, even us. Look, we're here. It's Packer week. We haven't even talked about the Packers of the game that's about to happen. We've been talking
it's because we're in an abusive relationship.
I put that on my Facebook yesterday.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, the O-line's a problem, and even KB, you were at the game. You said some people were booing about Caleb, and it's true. There's plays where he's got guys open and he doesn't pull the trigger.
Yep.
I don't know why. I mean, I don't care if it's 2 yards. You get the ball in DeAndre Swift, or
because he big game hunts.
Yeah, he does. I got some notes on that though.
Last time about the last quarterback having a problem with not taking the layups.
Yep.
It just seems like nothing happened. Nothing changes. It's always the same fucking issues.
100%.
Time is a flat circle, fellas.
Listen to this, man. To me, this is what it looks like to me. The coaching staff, whether it was Waldron or Eberflus, I'm going to suspect it's Eberflus, but they coached all the aggressiveness out of Caleb Williams. They don't want him turning the ball. Looks like he's been told not to turn the ball over. It looks like the same thing that Eberflus was doing to Justin Fields. Don't turn the ball over. Then he was like missing the wide open guys. I don't want to make excuses for the quarterback because they got to hit the plays too. But the Bears have turned Caleb Williams into Rex Grossman. A game manager, with a little bit of an arm.
Kyle Orton.
Yeah, Kyle Orton, whatever I say. That's what you get when you have a defensive head coach. They want to win games with their defense. They forget that you have to score points too. The conservative game plan. It doesn't work in today's NFL because there's a lot of other teams that have creative offensive play calling, and then you can always find a good defensive coordinator who's going to dial up some creative blitz packages. I think that's what's been happening with Caleb. You need someone that's going. Eberflus doesn't know how to coach a fucking quarterback. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, King George says we believe the kid Caleb should sit for a while and watch from the sidelines. Tyson Bagent is a viable option. This was another
Travis Bajan probably agrees with you, King George.
Out, Tyson Bajan's father was texting with Sylvie of ESPN 1000 saying that players were calling for this. The players never called for this. Tyson Bajan's dad called for this. So I don't know if that's Tyson Bajan's dad's burner account on YouTube here as King George, but and I like Bajan. He's fine, but he's a backup quarterback. And the only way for Caleb to learn is via on the field, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to learn anything sitting on the bench. He's damn sure not going to learn anything from Shane Waldron. I don't know if he'll learn anything from Eberflus. I don't want to say he's perfect. Don't get me wrong. I had questions about Caleb coming in. I liked Jaden Daniels. I talked about this last offseason. But the bottom line is he's
Drake
not going to learn anything.
I think May will be pretty good, man. He's got the prototypical size. Kid can run like.
I think Drake May's biggest issue, if he were drafted by Chicago, is people would see
another
number 10 from North Carolina. Yeah. We're out on him right away. He would have never stood a chance in Chicago. Yeah, but I don't know if any of them would the way this organization's being ran. I mean, I heard John Gruden on Barstool, which shout out they went out and hired John Gruden to help them break down tape and do all kinds of stuff. That's a great hire for Barstool Sports, but listening to him talk about the things that he would have done, the things that if he were in charge of the Chicago Bears, I would take him over anyone who's in our organization. Like I don't.
The HR problems he'd fit right in. Bears, you know.
Yeah, they'd have to look past that. I think that'd be an issue in Chicago, but I just Barstool, they're going to go out on a limb. They don't care. They were one of the first podcasts to go on there and start cussing like we do, you know. But you guys want to get into this game a little bit today? Try to turn the page. I mean,
a little bit of Packers game.
Bears fire their OC. They bring in Thomas Brown. Thomas Brown, actually, first game he coached as the offensive coordinator last year in Carolina was against these Green Bay Packers in a game that they lost by 3 in overtime, I believe, 33-30.
Yeah, that's what it was, 33-30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I looked that up on my other show on Wednesday because my co-host is a Packers fan, and I was like, "Hey, man, we got Thomas Brown coming for you."
It looks like the Bears are going to be a little healthier than we thought too, with getting back both their tackles.
That's go over the injury report if you would.
Yeah. Montez Sweat should be back. Of course, Brisker, like you mentioned before, he was put on injured reserve. Other than that, I think Tevin Jenkins is going to be out, and so is Amagaji. So, like you said, we'll see Ryan Bates in Jenkins' spot. And then the offensive line, it looks to be not like I'll tell you, against the Patriots it was bad. So, I mean, it's going to be tough going against the Packers though. They're very good at stopping the run. You know, they're very good at stopping the run. They're not how you can beat them. There's in the short passing game, which happens to be Caleb Williams' strength. You know, the short passing game. They give up the underneath passes. They're 30th in the NFL against the short pass. But their offensive line, man, they're very good at pass blocking. They're like number 1 in pass block success rate. They're number 1 in
Boogie Wild.
Yeah. Nate Davis is gone after calling in sick last week, King Buka.
I couldn't believe that. You know? I could not. They finally are like, okay, we need you, and he's like,
I can't play today, coach. You know, it's like, why don't you just not come to the game then? And then he was gone the next day, right? A couple days later.
They cut him. Yeah.
Cut him. There you go. You know, I'm glad they started sending some messages to, whether it's like players on the team or coaches. I mean, firing Waldron doesn't really send that much of a signal. You know,
they're always preaching their culture and accountability, but it's always too late, in my opinion.
You want to send a message, you fire the head coach.
Yeah.
Then the team comes in the next, wow, I can't believe he's gone. We better straighten up. Got a new coach yelling at him, whether it's Hightower or whoever, Washington or Hightower, or somebody in there getting on their ass. That's how you send a message here. We've got frickin' Eberflus still, milk toast. But yeah, their Green Bay offensive line is going to be tough. They don't give up a lot of sacks, so pressure is going to be tough. it's going to be hard to run the ball against them too. They're very good against the run, especially against zone blocking run. They're like 5th in the NFL. And then good news is Jordan Love is 30th against cover 3 defense, which the Bears run a whole ton with a single high safety. But the Packers hit a lot of like explosive plays in the passing game, which the Bears have been susceptible to. I think if the Bears can stop the explosive plays in the passing game, I think we got a chance. In the run game, though, man, since you all seen we haven't been able to stop the run. I've said it for the past 2 weeks. The Cardinals ran all over us. We kept 174 yards rushing to the Patriots last week. But since we were good rushing, we're 25th in the NFL now against the run. That's not going to do it.
That's the biggest loss of Andrew. When he tears his pec, that's the middle of your defensive line. It clogs up. I mean, nose tackles get no love until they're not there. And then you're like, damn, he was really clogging up this center and this guard and had to chip him.
Loss.
You know what I'm saying? It's and the fact that that's another shout to Poles. Like the fact that you don't have any depth. Like they drafted Zach Pickens, he obviously wasn't working. And then behind him you got Brian Coward who they pulled up on there.
There's a guy that they grabbed off of somebody's practice squad that's actually been pretty good. I don't know what his name. Mark Williams, is that ring a bell? I think that's his name.
That sounds like an AI generated name.
I think that's his name, man. I mean, I think that's his name. But the thing with, like I said, the Bears have the past 2 games averaged 6 points per game. And we're 31st in the offense in yards per play and 27th% in offensive success, 27th in the NFL in offensive success rate.
Hugh Heaven says, is it Chris Williams?
Chris Williams, Chris Williams or Mark Williams, something like that.
We got a good history with Chris Williamses, don't we?
Yeah, people with Chris Williams. Because I saw him make a couple plays. I'm like, who the hell is this number 90 something? I think he's 91. I'm like, who the hell's Williams 91? Never heard of this guy, but that's a guy. Maybe can step in. I
like Sophistication's question.
That's a good question.
What is Ian Cunningham doing? Does he agree with Ryan? I know at the draft he told Ryan Poles to hold off, don't trade up for Roma Dunze. Just sit and wait and see if he falls to you. But other than that, I haven't heard. And both of these guys were O linemen. How can neither one of them get the right? I mean, I love Darnell Wright, but that's one piece. All the rest of your pieces are from Goodwill. It's you can't. I was
gonna say at this point, Tevin Jenkins is broken.
Yep.
I was gonna say every other drive you got to worry about him.
And you're probably gonna have to re-sign him, KB.
No, you don't. Absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not. They wanted to wait until the bye week to try and talk about contract. And he was already hurt before the bye week. There's 0% chance Tevin Jenkins is here next year. And I would put I'm not a huge betting man. I'd bet money that Tevin's not here next year. They'll draft a guy. I've already been looking at offensive linemen. I like the tackle out of Texas.
My first 4 picks would be offensive linemen.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably would.
All of them.
Might go all offensive.
Maybe throw a nose tackle in there, but
another
just
nose
for depth.
tackle. Yep.
Is because Cuz will be back next. How long does it take to get back from a pec? Do you know?
He should be ready week 1.
I hope so. I sure hope so. Yeah, it was really.
He did send his love to I let him know. He did send his love.
Yeah,
he appreciates everybody caring.
How's he feeling? Pain levels?
He when I spoke to him, man, he told me because I just texted him the other day and asked him how he was dealing with it because I guess he was at the facility. He said he's been dealing with the pain pretty well. Like I said, ever since everything went down, he's been in high spirits. But he's dealing with the pain pretty well.
That's good.
He's telling me he trying to get off the pain pills already. Though he don't like them. You don't like taking them.
That's smart. Yeah, you don't want to get hooked on those things and then ruin your life.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, what do you guys think are the keys to maybe this game beating the Packers? I mean, I feel like they'll get a dead cat bounce from Thomas Brown coming in, little fire, a little rah-rah. They could probably keep it within 6 points. But
obviously, like you said, the trying to not give up the deep, because they got a guy named Jalen Reed who all he does is make
from my
big plays.
hometown,
from Chicago. All he does is make big
Illinois.
plays. Yep. But my key to the game, I'm going to go offensive, and I want to see move your pieces around. I want to see DJ Moore in the slot. I want to see short route passes, slants to Keenan Allen. Don't give me a 5-step drop. You don't have the offensive line for that.
Keep
I know we're back
chains.
Healthy, but you still, even fully healthy, you don't have the O-line. Right.
Can we get Komet working and DeAndre Swift in the short pass game?
And
it's going to be tough to run the ball. It's going to be tough.
I know I just talked about Keenan Allen slant routes and stuff, but I'm tired of force feeding him the ball. It's like every drive they're trying to force feed him at least 3 targets. Like, if it's not working, run the damn ball first of all.
Yeah.
And then set up play action off of it.
Yep.
That'd be my key to the game. I want to see the offensive pieces being moved around. Give me some pre-snap motion. And that's something that they've been messing with Caleb with, is they'll send a guy with him and then they'll run zone instead of man. So he thinks it's man. And then the next thing you know, he's, oh shit. They've been doing that since Washington. So that's. What about you, KB?
Oh, like I said, giving up the big plays. I feel like I'm gonna look on the defensive side of this game. I feel you need to blitz. I feel like that should be an absolute thing today, because anytime we play the Packers, it seems like Jordan Love has 5 to 6 seconds to throw the ball. And hearing that their offensive line is like number 1 in pass win rate or whatever the case is, I can see it, because every time we play them, that seems to be it. Like, you're not getting any pressure on the dude.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if Montez Sweat is going 100% today or not. So you have to come with extra pressure. You got to trust some of these guys on the back end to lock down. You don't have Brisker back there, but I mean, you kind of got the core of Gordon, Stevenson, and Johnson and Byard. So, whoever it was, a Hicks that plays in that position that Brisker plays in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to trust these guys to play the back end.
They're going to pick on Stevenson, I guarantee you.
Oh, I guarantee you they will.
Yep.
That's another thing that the Patriots said they saw on tape. They said, whenever there's a play fake, Stevenson cheats. That's how they got that easy touchdown to Polk.
Mm-hmm.
Stevenson was trying to cheat in, and they just threw it right beside it. 1 yard little dump off pass.
If I were to ask you guys where you thought the Packers were in the NFL running the ball, are they top 5, middle of the pack, bottom 5? Where would you say they are running the ball?
They got Josh Jacobs. I'd say they're middle of the pack, though.
They're 3rd in the NFL.
Wow.
154.8 rush yards per game. They've been running the ball very well.
You heavens knew. Look at
we have not been stopping the run, boys.
Yeah.
We have got to stop Josh Jacobs today, man.
Mm-hmm.
Got to stop him and force Jordan Love to throw against the cover 3.
Yeah, because he'll give you a couple. I mean, he did that with the Lions. They were going into halftime down 3, I think, and then he threw that pick 6 right before halftime. The Lions never looked back after that, but the Lions are a different team than us.
That's also the other thing. You also got to worry about us being in the cover 3, but having the rushers to actually get to him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at some point, he might be bad against the cover 3, but shit, if you got all day to throw the ball, somebody
pass protect very well.
I was gonna say I don't like our depth really at pass rusher.
People are like, Caleb Williams holds on to the ball too much. Who holds on to the ball the most in the NFL?
Oh, definitely Jordan Love.
No, Lamar Jackson. He's
it was Lamar
in the MVP for conversation for MVP. 4 seconds, per.
Lamar's a different animal, though. He's been doing it since high school.
Kind of player. No.
I watched Lamar Jackson.
But I mean, look,
Kentucky was up 3 touchdowns on Louisville when Lamar Jackson was a freshman, and they threw him in there the second half, and they came all the way back. All they did was said, "Go beat him, Lamar,"
run around,
and there was nothing that anybody could do about it. run. They said when he came out that he didn't have an arm, but I watched him with a cannon at Louisville. Deep balls. I mean, because you gotta spy him, so your safeties are playing down, and he just throw right over your head.
He's playing the one team that plays him hard today.
Oh yeah,
yes.
And that's the Steelers. They have not had a problem. They're 6-1, straight up 6-1 against the spread versus the Ravens. I know guys don't care. We're not doing Ravens talk here, but I'm just telling you, if you're gonna bash Caleb Williams for holding on to the ball too, you have to take a look at the MVP of the NFL too.
Well, and the guy that he idolized, we hate him in Chicago, Aaron Rodgers, but that's who Caleb grew up liking. That's who he modeled his game after. Hopefully he didn't model his personality after, because the guy's a dick. But
I'm really curious to ask you two fellas, if you thought, because to me, the year before with Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, the Panthers were faced with the same decision the Bears had this past draft. And of course, the Panthers chose wrong, in my opinion. I like CJ Stroud better. I thought he had the size. To me, Bryce Young was too small for the position. That's why I like Drake May. Caleb Williams isn't exactly tall. He's got enough size. He's taller than Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. So I'm not worried about that. But I mean, to me, in my opinion, the team wasn't ready to draft a quarterback number 1 overall, no matter how many great wide receivers we signed or traded for or acquired. The offensive line wasn't there. It would have been better if the Bears did trade back and took Jaden Daniels or Drake May or whoever. I know this is just second guessing. They wanted Caleb Williams, and I like Caleb Williams as a player too. But I also like one of the other quarterbacks with a whole bunch of other draft picks, and high draft pick players.
I think that was a conversation that was being had, and when it was being had, we were told we were justice sexuals because we were trying to look at the big picture. Saying let's build a team instead of just focusing on one guy. But the way it was being told was Caleb Williams was the generational prospect. Why? In Cap's words, what are we afraid of? Why are we afraid to chase greatness? And then you get what you get this year.
People. I mean, there's a lot to be said for getting a haul, man. It's like
it is a lot to say, and it's a lot to say.
On that last contract, could have kept him and let Drake May sit behind him like they did with Jacoby Brissett or whoever. I don't care. Somebody could have sat, but then if you didn't want Justin Fields, you let him go. He signed somewhere else. What we got? We got a 6th round draft pick for him, or fourth round. Probably will be a 6th round pick.
It's going to be a 6th at this point because
slick sophistication. I said this shit since last year. To me, the player that threw the ball the prettiest to me was fucking Shador. To see what Shador's had to play in, the fact that the first year they didn't have an offensive line. And this year they start to get an offensive line, and now they're probably the shoe in to win the Big 12.
They beat Utah yesterday, so that was a big step.
His teammate probably go number 1 overall.
Oh yeah, I'm saying Travis Hunter is an absolute dog. That's not to be played with. That kid is a freak of nature. But Shador Sanders is phenomenal at quarterback.
My worry with Shador, though, I think he's got a good arm, and he elevates players around him. But I worry about it up here. You know what I mean? His dad's been his coach since high school. When he comes to the league, his dad ain't gonna be there. You know what I mean? And
unless he takes a job in the NFL.
The Bears ain't gonna hire him.
No, the Bears ain't gonna hire him.
But I would if there was a time to sit there and say you would pass up on somebody, even though you probably could have gave.
Yeah, that's another thing. Sports Chicago
with Jaden.
Yeah, there's no way. Caleb Williams and his dad didn't want to come here, bro.
Yes, he did. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Colin Cowherd said that one time, and they called him that night and said, retract your motherfucking statement. That's bullshit. Because he came on the next day and was like, I was speculating. I apologize. He literally Cowherd quite a bit.
It's hard not to think that, though.
But Prime, he literally said on a radio show this week,
he would step in.
I would step in. He said I would do it behind the scenes, but that's a bad look too. I mean, look at Eli. Always had that stank on him from what his dad did on draft night. I wouldn't want to do that to my son. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's the Packers drafted him and if they had the number 1 pick. You know what I'm saying? I would just be happy.
Yeah.
You're going to the league. You know what I'm saying? But maybe Prime sees it different. Good for him. I don't think it's a good look.
Yeah, just what pisses everyone off here, the three of us and most of the Chicago Bears fans, is that we've done the same thing to 3 first-round quarterbacks. John Fox, Mitch Trubisky, Matt Nagy, Justin Fields, and now we have Eberflus. Why the hell? I mean, you should have gotten rid of if you're going to draft Caleb Williams, you had to get rid of Eberflus and bring in a head coach that knows how to develop a quarterback, whether it was Harbaugh or whoever. At this point, we take John Gruden, for fuck's sake, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, you had to get rid of Eberflus. It's just dumb. We did that. We didn't learn from our past 2 times. We made the same mistake.
I'm starting to think Mike Vrabel is going to get it. If it's not here in Chicago, I guess Philly's kind of turning it around now, so they'll probably hold on to their guy. But you give him a roster that he can. All he's got to do is have them step up and be a damn man. Talk to him like
the same mold of Dan Quinn.
Yeah, at least he's good. The strategy with Vrabel, you're going to get, better than Eberflus. Eberflus can't strategize. He can't make halftime adjustments. At the end of second half of games, he falls apart.
Yeah.
It depends on who Vrabel brings with him.
First Bears game, he's not going to watch in over 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm not that far out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still
gonna watch the Bears-Packers game.
If
it starts to get out of hand, I got some jobs around the house to do.
Yep.
But
we all got honeydew lists.
Yeah.
I got gutters that ain't gonna clean themselves.
Goddamn right.
Yeah. Ron's right. The Bears organization only hires yes men as coaches.
100%. Yep, that's what Eberflus is. He's not a big personality like Ditka, like AC and I were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The McCaskies never got over the fact that Ditka overshadowed them.
Yeah. It's like Papa Bear and then Ditka. That's how people and people still look at the organization like that. When I tell people I'm a Bears fan, the first thing I hear is the Bears, and the second thing is, Ditka was a hell of a coach. You know what I mean? That's.
I feel bad for Caleb Williams, because as hard as the Bears and Ryan Poles tried, and they had this like detailed plan of what they were going to do with him, and they still fucked it up. It's like they don't have anybody that knows how to coach the quarterback position. What you do is you hire somebody, a head coach that's like Harbaugh, who played the freaking position. They didn't hire Harbaugh because he's Ditka Part 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say we saying all that to say this, man. Thomas Brown could come in today because apparently, like y'all said, he hadn't spoken to Caleb at all. So who knows? Thomas Brown might come in and get this man on sketch.
Don't you find that weird that they didn't talk much? The passing game coordinator and the quarterback did not talk.
It is.
Why? Why? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Thomas Brown will be better than Shane Waldron. He can't do much worse.
Yeah, he better be.
That's what we thought when we got rid of Getsy. So you can't get much worse. Got your ass. Here's 3 points against the Patriots.
He's basically the same guy, man. Same stupid plays,
The Papa Bear hired Ditka. McCaskey's inherited him. That's true. That shit ain't been right.
Papa Bear made the last really good coaching hire.
Yeah.
I mean, I put Lovey up there.
Lovey's up there.
Yeah, Lovey was good.
Yep.
Yeah. But I still like. But see, that's another thing. KB is they look at it too. Lovey was a good hire, so let's hire the defensive minded coach. Don't buck the trend. Don't go with what everybody. I know Matt Nagy didn't work out, so we're just not going to hire an offensive. Like, come on, man, you gotta.
They're burned from hiring an offensive coach. Mm-hmm. So they went back to what they know. They hire this milquetoast defensive coordinator.
That's not winning.
Yeah, but he ain't winning.
It's the same shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Time is a flat circle. It's 11 o'clock, fellas. Let's get into this.
I had to revise it, KB.
Mm-hmm.
See, where the red circle is where I changed it a little bit.
I see. I appreciate that too. Lose to a bad team. That's facts. 2-6. That's kind of bad. Just saying.
I watched the game with my friend up the hill, and he's a Patriots fan, and he was pissed off that they won too. He said, "Man, we just went from the number 1 overall pick to the number 7 overall pick because of a win in Chicago."
Good job.
Aaron Mikulski sent me a text of a conversation he had with a Raiders fan, and the two of them were talking about their respective teams. It's basically the same conversation. Our players have quit on the coach, you know. So,
which is crazy in Las Vegas because I thought Antonio Pierce at the very least he'd have the team buying in, the team playing hard for him, and that's what I heard because a buddy of mine's a Colts fan, roster. And I asked him when we hired Eberflus, I was like, "What are we getting out of this guy?" And he said, "Well, the team will play hard for him." Well, they did for 3 years, and then they realized this dude don't know what the hell he's doing. So
they have 2 good players on the Raiders, and that's it. Their roster's just as bad as ours.
Brock Bowers has been helping my fantasy team quite a bit.
Brock Bowers and Max Crosby. No 2 guys. I mean, Max Crosby probably gone after the season, traded.
Yeah, I'm shocked he made it through the trade deadline.
Yeah.
But it's about time that we break this thing down and give our score prediction, bowl prediction, MVB, and hit shout outs. KB, I'm gonna start with you and then go to Tooch, and then I'll finish this out.
MVB, I'll say it'll be Swift. I feel like they'll lean heavily on him. The Thomas Brown thing. I've seen a quote where he said he wants to simplify the offense for the quarterback. I've been saying that since week 1. So hopefully that's what we see. Try, even if you can't run the ball, get him out in space. You know what I'm saying? Get him lined up against some of these linebackers in some of these shorter routes and just give him the ball. Because Caleb's gonna have to get the ball out of his hands quick in this game. I got to stick by what I said. I can't pick us to win the game with Flus being quarterback, especially now. I'm hoping the game is a lot closer than what y'all, you know what I'm saying, what's being predicted, you know what I'm saying, but I'm still seeing us lose this game 27, like maybe 12 or 14. I got a little bit more hope in Thomas Brown. I'm praying that we see a little bit more. But like I said, for the coaching, bro, I'm just out on. I'm beyond out on it. It's just the same shit every year. Like I said, with my MVP, I'll give it to Swift. I'll say he has a day. Having a day doesn't mean he'll have the touchdowns though. Let's say shout out to everybody in chat, man. Y'all boys, a lot of good questions, especially about the Ian Poles. I love that question. I loved it. Shout out to everybody in chat, man. Shout out to everybody here, man. Y'all know I love you boys, man. We do this every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Tar boy C-Dub get better. Hopefully we have you on next week, whatever the case is, brother. But we sending our love and prayers to you. Hope you feel better. Like I said, love you boys, man. Got to come here and get this therapy session out, man, because some days you just look at the bottom and you just say, the Bears are making me do this. And that's how I feel. It's that battered relationship syndrome. So, hey, man, like I said, man, go Bears, do something, make the game look respectable. It's a 1 o'clock game. Who knows? Some bullshit might happen. Who knows?
Any score?
Yeah, that's what I said. My score was 27 to 14. I give us that. But it's
Packers.
Packers. Yeah, I can't pick us.
I know. Now you look at the rosters. If we're segueing over to me, you look at the rosters and the coaches. The Packers have a really good coaching staff. And Matt LaFleur's 10-0 against us. He's never lost to us.
Never lost.
The Bears are good at home. I think they can keep it closer than 6.5 points. Would I be surprised if they got blown out? You know, maybe what's that? Christian Watson or Jaden Reed catch some deep balls. I wouldn't be surprised.
Like the Tressman era.
No, I wouldn't be. That's the next stage in the dying coaching staff is getting blown out in Tressman-like fashion.
I say it'll probably be close through the first 3.
Yeah.
Then once it's like we're not moving the ball at all, then it'll start to go very.
That's the thing. It's like the Bears don't score in the first half, the first quarter. I mean, their first drive they never score. We scored what once?
3 and out.
Yeah.
One time.
In our first drive, it's just a waste. And maybe that changed with Thomas Brown, but
right. I kind of hope Thomas Brown if they take. I never take the ball, but I wonder if you might want to try and take the ball
at coming out of halftime.
See if you can do something with the new offensive coordinator.
All right.
What's the worst that could happen is they get an extra possession in the second half. Like
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, do I think the Bears could win the ball game? Yeah, if they get that dead cat bounce from Waldron being gone and they're fired up behind Thomas Brown, I think that. But am I going to predict it? No, I'm going to say the Packers. Let's see, it's a 40-point game. This is like a applied score of 23-17. So I'll say 24-17 Packers. I think if the Bears are going to win this, it's got to be Caleb Williams in the short passing game. He has to make those. They'd be wise to get him started, get the confidence up with some quick, easy passes. Get this thing rolling. I don't think they'll be able to run much against the Packers. They're very good against the run, and the Bears have to stop the run. Like I said, the Packers are third in the NFL. Who would have thought the Packers never ran the ball? They were always a passing team. They were always at the bottom of the league. But now they've got Josh Jacobs. And Josh Jacobs is a pretty hard runner, man. Dude's he's a bell cow.
He's the whole team with the Raiders.
Yeah, he can do it all. Catch the ball, run hard, goal line back, whatever you want out of it. He's a good player.
Did you know that this year was his first receiving touchdown of his entire career?
Yeah. I mean, he is a good receiver out of the back.
He catches a lot of balls, but he don't get in the end zone that much.
Yeah, and then look, you said we're all saying you got to put pressure on Jordan Love, but he does not get a lot of pressure. The line pass blocking is very good. It's a very good line as far as pass block success rate. And they do have some good players, and they'll probably have the refs on their side. They've always had the refs. They shouldn't, but they've always had the benefit of the doubt with holding calls against the Bears.
We got to see this man show up today.
We got to see that man. I love that man. That might be his best pick. Polls.
Yeah,
might be his best pick, a third round pick.
It's one of the most scrutinized because everyone wanted the guy in the first round that's in Philly.
And this guy's outplayed that guy.
Mm-hmm. You had early. I don't know if it's still like that.
I was gonna say I don't know if it's still like that because he's starting to ball right now.
Yeah,
Vic Fangio knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who Philly's got.
That defense is starting to play better.
Yeah,
that defense is starting to play. If I'm my most valuable Bear, boy. I don't know. I'm going to say DJ Moore maybe gets his head in the game and gets close to 100 yards, maybe gets a touchdown. But, I don't have a good feeling about this game. I think the Bears can keep it close. But after this game, I mean, there's not a lot of winnable games on the schedule. Maybe the Vikings and Seahawks.
Vikings is starting to look more winnable.
Yeah.
I talked to KB about. Are you done? Can I?
Yeah, again.
Yeah, I didn't want to just cut you off there. I talked to KB last week when he was coming home, see how Big Cuz was doing and all that, and prayers for you, Andrew. Hope you're getting better. Good that you're trying to wean yourself off the pain pills already, because those things I've seen them ruin lives, especially in the eastern Kentucky around here. Those things, it's over. But I forgot where I was going. Oh, so when KB was coming home, I was talking about the schedule. We got Packers this week. It didn't at that time. We still had the lame duck offensive coordinator in place, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen there. Then you got the Vikings next week, who you might be able to take advantage of. Sam Darnold's kind of reverting back to the pumpkin, it seems like.
Yeah.
But their defense is ferocious, and you got Brian Flores, who's going to try and probably successfully confuse the hell out of Caleb Williams. I mean, that might be there's experienced quarterbacks who he confuses. So to throw in a rookie and that's difficult. But then you get a Thanksgiving game with the Lions. I don't think it'll be close, fellas. I really don't. But as I was telling KB on the phone, after that, you've got a 10-day period. If they fire Flus after Thanksgiving and tell him, keep your ass in Detroit, you ain't coming back, then you got 10 days for Richard Hightower or whomever you appoint as the interim head coach. Hell, maybe Thomas Brown does a decent job and they say, let's see what you can do, young kid. You know what I mean? This is a guy who was the assistant head coach with the LA Rams when he was there. You know, that's how much Sean McVay liked this guy. He went to Carolina. It wasn't great, but there's not a whole lot of talent there. I don't know if I feel like we've got talent in Chicago. I mean, this is a team that we saw put up 35 points in back-to-back weeks. It was against bad teams, but we put up 35 points in back-to-back weeks in an NFL game. The talent is there. There is some talent. But I think after Thanksgiving, if we see Flus fired in the season, that'll be when it happens. It'll be when we have a long week after that. I'm out on the coaching staff. I've been out on the coaching staff.
Yeah, you and me were out on them last year.
And now it feels like the team's out on the coaching staff. So I think you get a little bit of a bump from Thomas Brown and they keep it close. I think Packers win this game 37
Damn, 35. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of points.
High flying. Well, it's light rain and like 50 degrees. So I don't know. It might be a little sloppy.
Yeah. Never mind that then.
I'm saying I should have given you my weather report earlier. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't trust our defense, man, but I feel like our offense is going to get a bump from Thomas Brown. So I still think Packers win, but I think it's give me 24-20 Packers. I know that's still a decent amount of points.
I think we'll see a trick play.
Maybe.
You know? They got nothing to lose, you know?
Yeah. Maybe they pass the ball to Doug Kramer and score. How pissed off would people be if they did that? If they pass it to him.
They're gonna hit him with the
they're gonna try to get him one of them touchdowns, right, KB? Get Kramer a touchdown.
Try to get Kramer a touchdown, baby. You know what I'm saying?
But my MVP is gonna be Komet. Smitty's in the chat. He took it. I tried to do this on tight ends week and they completely ignored him. The guy had one target in 2 weeks. I think he gets back on track today, and Thomas Brown knows what butters his bread. He's going to try and run the ball, run play action off of that, hit Komet over the top, make those safeties, make some decisions. Watch out for Xavier McKinney. That's another thing. We didn't even talk about the Xavier McKinney, DJ Moore back and forth. I ain't never heard DJ Moore had such a passive aggressive shit talking, but I can't fault Xavier McKinney for what he said either. I've never seen him, and I know he was out of the play, whatever, but to walk all the way to the bench in the middle of a play, that's questionable. But I think a lot of that had to do with his frustrations with Shane Waldron. And I really don't, because a lot of people are trying to make more out of it and think he's got an issue with Caleb. I don't think he's got an issue with Caleb. Absolutely, he loved Justin.
He loved Justin Fields, so yeah. Yep.
But I don't think he has a problem with Caleb either. He's a professional. I think the defense has got to get their shit together, man. You talked about the lack of pass rush. 99 and 98 need to get to the quarterback today. It's you get to the quarterback, he makes mistakes. We've seen it. You know, he's had an interception in every game.
I was gonna say he's very turnover prone.
Absolutely. So I think you got to do that. Shout out to the chat, man. They was on fire today. PZ's in there. MMA Tip was in. JoJo Loco was in today. Had some good thoughts. Foster's is in here. Mr. Shorty's in here. Ravi was in here early. I think he got here before I did. He cut the lights on in the bar room for me. I appreciate
it.
The lights. But just leave everybody. Hopefully it's a good competitive game. Restarting the oldest rivalry in the NFL, but until next week, and we'll see Chris back next
fantasy
week,
football goon coming up after this.
Absolutely, yeah, in about a half hour, right? Or
yep, a little under a half hour.
Yeah. So stay tuned to the Barroom. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell at the Barroom Radio Network on YouTube, and it'll tell you when we go live. You can catch Barfly Tailgate Show. You can catch Tooch and Goon to help you set up your fantasy lineup. You can catch if you're into hockey. The Blackhawks are I don't know what they're doing. They're trying to build something, then they're not. I think Connor
They're
Bedard
talking
is
about
great.
Connor Bedard as a Caleb Williams type bust right now.
I don't know if I'd say
what's
bust.
No, I know.
But yeah. So you got that on there, and then until next week though, we'll just leave everybody with a bear down.
Bear down.